So rather than crying about the new Gran Turismo 7 physics, I thought I'd just become good at them and try and let you know how to also become good at the new Gran Turismo physics. And that's what I'm going to show you in this video. We're going to try and get into the top 100 in the world at this very tricky combination in the new Argonauts 1 track. So if you're new to Gran Turismo 7, welcome. There's been a big change on the physics that has come to the game. It's made the game generally quite hard to drive, I would say. I reviewed the new physics the morning it came out and I said, oh, this is very different. I didn't do a video like many other YouTubers saying this is a game changer and it's miles better, because I was very intrigued, and now I've spent some more time in the physics. I kind of understand what they're trying to do, trying to make it more realistic when it comes to understanding weight transfer, the balance of the car, how the car is positioned when you go into a braking zone and get on the power. So real world techniques now are going to really be key in Gran Turismo 7. But in this particular combination, if you saw my previous video, we had a really fun race working out the physics. I was starting at the back of the grid, didn't have a qualifying time. So we want to try and go top 100 in the world. And I'm going to show you the things that I'm doing differently here. Hopefully absolutely invaluable tips for yourself at home. So again, if you saw the last video, I was thinking about going really aggressive. And maybe being aggressive is going to be fast in the new GT7 physics. I don't think that's the case. You're going to see the more time you spend sliding around, you still don't really have that sweet slip angle. It's not like iRacing where you can dance in the slip angle and actually be faster, or real life. When I've done my real life racing, being in the slip angle is such a satisfying feeling. It is the fastest way to go around. So here you don't really want to play too much in the slip. You don't want to have that back end sort of trying to push you around. You're sliding around the corner, but you still got the traction. You do want to try and maximize traction at all possible times. And you're going to see me do that here with gear changes and also traction control. Now, I've always been someone on this channel that said there's nothing wrong with using traction control. When I drove my Ferrari 488 GT3, I had traction control on, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. There's no macho points for driving with or without traction control. So we're going to experiment everything. And I think now they've made this change to the physics being so loose or so difficult to get that traction down, having traction control can be a benefit. So we're going to see that in this video where I'm going to use it selectively on my Logitech G Pro. Now again there I was trying to get on the power and you can see the car wasn't set right, massive undulations here, and I ended up spinning into the brown left hand side. Now you can't afford to do that in the race, that'd be a race over. You can see in Gran Turismo 7 now I've got damage in the bottom left. You see above CS or under CS, that's damage. That will repair in qualifying, but in the race it could basically end your race. So I've got ABS on right now and I've got TC on 1, and I think I found the optimal way to use TC in certain situations. You don't want it all the time necessarily, but there are some occasions you want it. Now coming into the hairpin here, you're also going to see me start to use another technique, which is going to be gear choice. So coming in out of here now in second gear with TC on enables me to come out with no wheel spin until the very last moment there. So exiting in second gear, so we're going to go around here first for that rotation, and then second gear, and then get the power down so early in a higher gear to minimize the wheel spin. Not something I've had to worry about in Gran Turismo 7 for a couple of years now. Basically, the initial physics that the game came out with were quite similar, and I had to be quite different in the way I drove. But it's the same actually, when I say different in the way I drove, it's the same fundamental technique. You just need to be more aware of it. So again, here we're going to spear into left-hand side, even with TC1 on, and also trying to use a higher gear. So it's not enough. The TC1 is not going to be bulletproof. So if you're worried about TC1 just being too bulletproof and slowing you down, that's not the case. Again, I've done many videos on like traction control in Gran Turismo over the years, and also how you use a traction control. You can see the throttle bar there. When you see the red kicking in, you actually want to minimize the amount of red that's there to minimize the amount of traction control that's kicking in. It's the same when you drive real world cars in the ABS. Often you want to minimize the amount the ABS is kicking in. We're going to see here, I reckon coming into these hairpins, you actually don't want traction control, because you might want to have a little bit of a kick round of the rear end when you get on the power, just to push the car around a little bit and manage it in a higher gear. And when you come into the windy stuff, so when we go past the car park, I'll let you know where that is. That's where you're going to want to have traction control on, in my opinion, because you can't just, it's not a low speed coming out of a corner where you can control it. That you want to be flat out. You're flat on the throttle. So rather than trying to do a cut in the throttle yourself, which might be too much, you can actually use traction control just to really just slightly cut the throttle. So we see it just there, you see the icon went red for the TC kicking in, and now I know absolutely flat through here. If something happens with the rears, too much wheel spin, loss of traction, it's going to just cut in slightly and help me out. So that's exactly what I want. It's just a bit of a backup, so I'm not going to ruin my lap. But you can see for the vast majority of the lap, TC1 is not actually really doing much, which is great. Let's even see here, so we go high and get down, so a bit of red there, and then we get on the power. See a tiny amount of TC. Tiny amount. And given that the physics make the driving less precise now, because it's more dynamic, so for example this braking zone I just went through there, your braking distance is really affected by how you come off the jump, whether you're in a straight line, when you hit the brake pedal, depending on the suspension load going down and then back up again. It's less precise, and I feel like the qualifying is going to become less down to the millisecond that I've experienced before, and therefore having that little bit of benefit from the TC if needed. See, it didn't really kick in there. It didn't kick in there at all, actually. The red you see there is just part of the shifting gears. And we're going to come around here, and let's keep an eye on that TC as we're going to take the esports line and just graze the wall there. Third gear, so I'll do some stabbing of the throttle, and now flat. And I noticed the car ahead, by the way, is really inside the white line on that left wheel. And that's something we're going to do if we want to go top 100 in the world. Globally, we can't mess around. We actually need to follow the example of the Ghost. That's a top 10 Ghost. And use all the techniques that are available to us. If you want to go faster in Gran Turismo 7, here are my top tips. Qualify, qualify, qualify. Pick up a Ghost. There's many ways you can adjust the Ghost, as you do quite a quick lap there. You can get the Ghost to reset. You can change the adjustment distance in terms of how far you are from the Ghost. You can see here I was able to brake much later than the Ghost actually. And this Ghost has an offset, so I might be able to go into turn 1 normally actually faster than the Ghost. But we're going to start that again because I really want to just reset sometimes and come out and then go again. The second thing I would say is, more than ever, if you're a beginner in Gran Turismo 7 and struggling, don't struggle, don't get frustrated. Go check out my Gran Turismo 7 Beginner Masterclass. It's www.getfasteronline.com. So many of you have tried it out and really enjoyed it. It's going to teach you all the fundamentals that are more important than ever. It's only $9.99. I probably should have it on for hire, but it's an 8-part series. You won't regret it. Go check it out. Let me know what you think. So we're going to start here again, really going for that top 100 time now. If I saw there, we were 171. Not quite going to cut it, although it's pretty good. You imagine that's going to stand up pretty well in the daily races. Braking late here. There's a piece of tarmac on the left-hand side that's been resurfaced. And just felt like I could brake a little bit after that. Try and really get into the power super early here. See how early I'm on the power with no wheel spin. That's going to be the key on the new physics. How early can you get on the power without losing the traction? And if you need to be in a higher gear or TC1, then it's going to be worth it, because the dividend you get from getting on that power early without traction loss is so important. Coming in here, there's a bit on the left hand side, you can lose the car, unsettles the car if you come off there. Not really that time, but I didn't get the turning right. Again, I have people, it's a bit like when I was playing FIFA, like relatively competitively. You'd have people saying, oh, it's all scripted. But the best players always rise to the top. And I think there's going to be people here saying that the physics are now random, it's a lottery. Sometimes I spin, sometimes I don't, and it's random. In video games, really nothing is ever really random. There's very slight differences in the curbs and when you come off the curbs, and just the inside of curbs and ridges and whatnot, that can have a big impact on the stability of the car. And it wasn't a problem before in Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo in the previous physics didn't really seem to care. They wanted to make it as accessible as possible. But now they're going for it, and I'm definitely going for this top 100 lap. You see here, look at the delta. We're a 10th up already, following this, well, it's a Honda, but it looks like a Ferrari. And again on the power, a bit of TC kicking in, but we haven't lost out. You see, we're still going to, oh, a little wheel spin there, but we're purple. And going to go down to second gear here and get on the power super early. Look how early on the power, bit of TC, oh, a little bit wide. But being on the power is the main thing, and you see me shaking my head because that's where the TC kicked in too much. So that amount of TC, just so you know, if you're watching, which you are, and if you're watching, by the way, please hit that subscribe button. And please share this video. It's just free, helpful video. Hope it's going to help you. But the TC kicking it that much is going to be too much. And you see, woo, we go for a little jolly there. And I'm getting a bit frustrated now, but I've got to calm down. Because if you want to get a top 100 time, there's the trains on the move as well. So we've got spectators on the move. See, that train's moving out. Why Gran Turismo 7 has spent so much time modelling trains and not just adding, say, Silverstone? I don't know. Kaz, what are you doing? Come on, add Silverstone. It would be amazing to drive on the new physics. And I think the new physics are... Look, I've watched with a little bit of humour to see sort of influencers do the predicted thing, which is the update comes out, it's a game changer, it's incredible. Then seeing that the public sentiment is like, this is not good. And then saying, oh, it's all ruined, have they ruined the game? What I thought when I first played the new physics is this is really going to mess up single players' tunes. I think a lot of the Gran Turismo 7 streamers and YouTubers maybe aren't quite as in touch with the single player community. So that's a big deal, and I think Gran Turismo 7 should have communicated that more. And they should have said, look, this is what we're trying to achieve. By the way, this is what we suggest you should do with your tunes. Because people have bought this game and been tuning cars and driving them very happily in single player for over 2 years now. And that's the bread and butter of this community, even though I'm racing online. But anyway, that's by the by. Do another video on sort of what I think about kind of whether there's enough real genuine criticism and analysis of Gran Turismo 7 in another video, because here you can see we're massively up on this lap, feeling very relaxed right now. Have we mastered the physics, implementing all of the techniques I've talked to you about, going high up here by the way, letting it come down second gear early on the power? Is it going to be a mid 13? Yes it is, 13.5. Wow, okay. So now, you know, I'm not a full-time YouTuber, so I can't go around forever, but I'm very happy with that. That's a great lap, but I feel like I had it locked up, implementing a lot of the techniques. Let's see, have we achieved our goal of top 100? We're top of our leaderboard. No, not quite. 117. There was Coque Lopez there, but 117 well, we're kind of there. With a bit more sort of practice, we'll get there. I really hope this has been helpful. Just these are the new physics. I know what they're going to do. They're going to water them down, let's be honest. They're going to bring it back a little bit. They did it when the game launched. I'm old enough to remember Gran Turismo 7 OG physics when it was very difficult to bring the car back in line after oversteer. And they basically sanitized it for 2 years. And I'm going to be honest with you, I think they're going to do the same thing. I think too many people are sort of not going to get their head around the physics because Gran Turismo 7 have not explained the physics to them. I don't blame the players. Put the blame on Gran Turismo 7 here for not saying in plain English, look, this is what we're trying to achieve. Get some voiceover done, get some videos, or even invite those same influencers out, the influencers that, you know, will be commenting on this. Give them a preview of code of the new physics, explain it, and then they can have some time to sort of digest it and send out a message that Sony sort of thinks will be helpful to players. I'm not saying it's bribery or sponsorship, no money, but just sort of helpful. Anyway, trying to do my bit here, and I'm actually going to enter a race in this track, hopefully going to be in top split with that time. Hope you're going to see that. If you missed it, it'll be on screen right now. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.